Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Friday. Welcome into Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I am he, Mr. 33. And as we have already seen, we have some very interesting games over the holiday weekend. First and foremost, I hope everybody had a good holiday yesterday. I hope everybody got that family time in. They got to see some relatives or family friends or whoever you consider to be, instrumental into your everyday scenarios, right? Uh, so, as we saw yesterday, right, we saw three very unique games, right? First, we'll start off with the first game between the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. Now, many of you that watched that game had to be very intrigued about how it ended. But first thing first, you congratulate the Lions for pulling off a 23-20 victory, even though, many people was going to look and be shocked at how the game ended. But the win for Detroit has given them an 11-1 record, and the Bears is just spiraling. They're spiraling so much that their head coach, Matt Eberflus, was fired. And it was, most people will agree and say that's excuse me, it was justly due. Because the way you could have put that game into overtime, the way you mismanaged that last minute in general, it will make people scratch their head. Now, in the same regard, Caleb Williams, he started off very cold, but he finished strong. He finished strong enough to get them into field goal territory. But because of hierarchy as far as coaching, the offensive coordinator or the head coach, however you want to view it, they lost the game. because of that. His stats look very good. He was 20 of 39 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, no pick. DJ Moore was close to 100 yards. He had 1 touchdown. Keenan Allen had two, but DJ Moore led the receiving corps with 97 receiving yards on 8 catches. And, they did storm back. They was down by a lot of points heading into that fourth quarter. They did everything to fight their way back into the game. Caleb Williams did what he needed to do to get back in the game. But because of the poor coaching and things like that, he just fell short. If you had a chance to watch the reaction of the players of the Chicago Bears, they looked at just like the fans. They was confused. They was bewildered, you know, and because of that, they're 4-8. You know, I mean, Jared Goff, he had an okay game, but it's nothing really to write home about. Willis, what's going on with you? Right, he was 21 of 34 for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Uh, David Montgomery had 88 rushing yards, 21 carries, which is strange in itself. Oh, Laporta had 2 touchdowns. I'll say where all the touchdowns go, but that win gave them, an 11 wins and 1 loss, right? And then the second game of the day, the I don't know how in the world. I don't know how this occurred, but the Giants made it a very interesting game. They did. They made it an interesting game to where Dallas didn't look right at all, right? But Dallas did come off with the victory. They won 2 straight games. So they're, with a 27-20 victory. Uh, it wasn't nothing really to write home about in this game, right? Drew Lock, for the Cowboys, Cooper Rush had 195 yards. What up, 9? 195 yards on 21 of 36 with 1 touchdown. Well, Dowdle had a good game. They had over 100 yards rushing. CeeDee Lamb was missing. I mean, this game was really, it was hard to watch, right? For the Giants, Drew Lock, 21 of 32, 178 yards, 1 interception. Malik Neighbors had 70 yards receiving, but this game should not have been as close as it was. I don't like the Cowboys had a 27-10 lead and allowed the Giants to get back in the game by the end of the game. So with this win, I mean these records are, Dallas is holding on to slim playoff hopes with a 5-7 record. The New York Giants are now 2-10. And I had already foresaw these records was going to be terrible because I think the Giants will be they will get the first pick in the draft this year. And then we had the Steelers we had the Packers in, what's this team name? Miami. Right? Miami came all the way up came to Green Bay, and they lost pretty handily. It was 30-17. There's a lot of people that's going to look at Tua Tagovailoa and blame this on him. It's just a simple thing. Like some teams don't play well, in certain areas, right? Miami don't play well in, cold cities like, teams from the West. They don't really do well in the East because of the time change, so on and so forth. That's what the Dolphins seem to have, right? Tua was 37-46, 365 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonnu Smith was the lead receiver with 10 receptions with 113 yards. but a lot of this was like an extensive waste of time, like garbage time. That's how Marv Albert would have said it, right? In the meantime, Jordan Love of 21 or 28, 274 yards, two touchdowns. Uh, and that's what did it. So now the Packers are now 9-3, and they head to Detroit next Thursday, I believe, to try to catch up with the Detroit Lions, which we will be on Amazon Prime, which means more than likely we'll have that conversation next Thursday. And then, of course, we had today's game between the world champions, Kansas City Chiefs, who hosted the Raiders. And I don't know what's going on with these games, but it seems like teams are playing down to their opponents, right? As Kansas City barely wins the game 19-17. Mahomes was 26 of 46, 306 yards, one touchdown. Who caught that? The tight end Watson caught the touchdown. Aiden O'Connell was 23 of 35, 340 yards for two touchdowns. Brock Bowers had an awesome game, 140 yards receiving on 10 catches. Right? Those are the games that happened this week. But we're gonna take a look into it a little bit more in a deeper version, right? Let's look at this game and let's look at the Chicago and Lions game, right? We can tell, the Las Vegas Raiders coach is Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce was a former football player. He's notably known for playing for the New York Giants and winning a Super Bowl, right? So we understand as a linebacker, you have to take control and command of certain things in certain situations in certain times. Today, I think he did an awesome job as he had a quarterback who hasn't had playing time, and he kept them motivated in the game. He kept his mind focused on what he needed to do. He kept his team focused on what they needed to do. Now, the reason why they lost, in my opinion, is because their field goal kicker was one of four in field goals. Right? They even tried to kick the tying field. They tried to kick the winning field goal with 2 minutes to go. He pulled up short. There's something to his ankle, right? So that's one way of looking at it, right? The game management was well and things of that nature, because he understands that, in this game, you have to have some sense of understanding of what's going on at all times. Right now, when you look at the Chicago Bears was driving down the field, and with a minute left, they had a sack, right? And instead of the coach calling timeout, because he should be understanding what the scenario is, he should be upset and trying to get his team reorganized, to get a play in to establish field goal range. He let the time run all the way down. He has a rookie quarterback who seemed to be like a deer in headlights. Like, what's the play? What's the play? I need to play. And everybody seemed to be rattled. The coach's job to make sure everybody is at even keel, right? That's why when you don't have that proper leadership, things go to the left, because nobody seems to know where to take the directions or take the reins of a situation and calm people down. And in this case, because he didn't do that well enough yesterday, he lost his job today. He has been fired as of Friday morning, all because you don't understand the situations and roles that you're supposed to play. And, in everyday life, we have to maintain our own rules and regulations because we are a leader of ourselves. But just imagine being in charge of a bunch of people. How many of us would have did what this man did? It seemed like he froze and didn't understand what the situation was, right? Just imagine being a parent and not knowing how to regulate a situation when your children are looking to you for guidance and understanding. Not to say that NFL players are children, but they need guidance because they're following a structure. I'm a player, you the coach, you call a play, I'm a try to make the play happen. But when you're confused as the coach, why wouldn't you think everybody else is confused on the field? They waiting for plays. What do we need to do? Now, as soon as this young man, Caleb Williams, would have improvised and did something else, he would have been he would have been a undisciplined quarterback. He's a rookie. He shouldn't have did this, that, and the third. That's why sometimes playing sports is a very difficult thing to do. And like I said, because the Chicago Bear coach didn't know what he was doing, he ended up losing his job. Say what up, Nine. Good evening. Right. So when you go through those attributes and situations, you got to understand there's people under you that is looking to you to make sure they know what they're doing. The coach literally fumbled his assignment. And since he fumbled his assignment, he lost his job. Now he got to look for another job. Now he has to understand that people are going to look at this game in particular, how you didn't know how to micromanage your team, how to make sure your team was under control, get them together. Now they're not going to allow you to be considered a leader of men, especially when that's what a coach is supposed to be in the first place. Word, what up, though? Right? So I know that the Lions, they gotta win, and I know some of them are, looking very disappointed of how they won. But that was all on Chicago. That was all on Matt Eberflus. He should have made them be ready to get themselves prepared to kick a field goal or attempt to kick the field goal. Now, if it misses or not, that would have been irrelevant, right? But he didn't even get them in position to try to keep the game going. They were so flustered, they wasted 35 seconds and then threw a fake Hail Mary. It wasn't even a Hail Mary, it was a passing play, and the ball was incomplete and the game was over. They went home with a timeout that they can't use nowhere else. But that's what happened when leadership don't know how to orchestrate. That's what happens when you put somebody in a position and they don't have a clue of what's going on. They just looked at like deer in headlights. And now, like I said, because of that, the man no longer has a job. So, nobody's advocating for somebody to lose their job. In this situation, it's very easy to understand why his job was lost. So I'm not shocked that occurred. I'm just shocked that it took them overnight to do that. Because to be honest, he shouldn't have got back on that. He shouldn't have got back on that plane to Chicago with that status, with that situation. So, it was just, But other than that, we seen that a lot of teams today played. They like these winning teams, the Lions, the Cowboys, not really a winning team, but the Kansas City Chiefs, the two best teams in the NFL. However you want to rank them, the Lions or the Chiefs, they played down to the competition, right? Now, normally people would say there should be no moral victories, right? But for a team like the Raiders, who's so discombobulated as far as the group of players that man has, he has to be nah, this ain't prepaid. You got to use those. Ain't no rollover. You got a restricted time to use that timeout. But I just feel bad for Antonio Pierce, right? You seen the frustration in his face, right? Even on the last play of the Kansas City Chief game, they talking about is a false start. It's not a false start if the man snaps the ball. If the center snaps the ball, it's a illegal formation. The play still goes on. They thought because he snapped the ball it was just a false start. That's not what a false start is. You don't get to snap the ball on a false start. You see what I mean? But that's just goes to show you that sometimes in a predicament, your team may not be understanding what you're trying to do. They played hard for 59 minutes and 49 seconds until that play occurred. There's 11 seconds left, and they was in field goal range, and they fumbled the ball because they had an illegal shift. The Kansas City Chiefs jumped on the ball, and they gathered a little sneaky victory. So that's why I say, sometimes you just gotta know. You gotta know what's really going on in the scenario. Did I put the link up? I don't even know if I put the link up. I guess I did. I don't even see it. Oh yeah, it's right there. The link is there if you want to jump up, word or whatever, whoever. But it just goes to show you that there are people out here there are people that's not prepared, and then there's people in leadership that's not prepared. And their record shows for themselves. It's not about them losing one point or one possession games and all of that. It's just the fact that there are some people that may not be ready for the professional level. There may be people that been playing all their life, think they're ready, but when the lights come on, they're not ready. But to be fair, those were divisional games. Them teams are built to face one another, and they play them twice a year. I understand all of that. I do, right? Like for the Lions, I don't think they played the Bears this year until that was their first time. But that don't have nothing to do. Okay. That don't have nothing to do with the Chicago Bear coaching. That was the Chicago Bear coaching. The Lions had nothing to do with them not calling the timeout, right? Even like I said, even if the Lions block the kick, you have to put them in position to try to at least tie the game or win the game. He did none of that. He sat there like he was on the Detroit Lions team and didn't want to use the timeout. For what reason? And then when you look at Antonio Pierce, he did everything he needed to do. The play didn't just go the way that it needed to go. Sometimes you can teach discipline, but if the players don't, or your group or your team or whoever you teaching discipline to, if they don't know when to apply it, it goes to the wayside. And that's what happened with the Las Vegas Raiders. They didn't know how to be disciplined. And so with that, they snapped the ball. They got up. They didn't even know the rule. They thought it was false start when it was an illegal shift and lost the game. And that's why I'm saying everybody has to do their part to have a well running team, right? There's a reason why Detroit is 11-1. Some people want to say they got some lucky games, but a lot of the time they did the work. It's also going to be the same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a reason why they're 11-1. They may have gotten some breaks, like we're talking about the 2 breaks that they got today. Excuse me, the break they got today and the one Detroit got last night or yesterday. But a lot of it is because the practice that they do on the basis of every day or every week, they practice certain situations. They make sure that they're disciplined to hold on going through different situations. So when these things occur, they're prepared. They're not looking how the Bears were looking. They're not going to look the way the Las Vegas Raiders are looking. So when you go through those situations, they are prepared. They're on time. They're focused, right? They're not deers in headlights. Oh my God, what am I supposed to do? They understand they have to do what they have to do, right? So those 4 games are completed. Some of them are going to get, well, like I said, the Lions are going to play the Packers next Thursday, so they have the same amount of days off, but that's going to be a pivotal game because if the Packers beat the Lions, their game back, and that, Detroit is not far away from anybody. And if the Lions win, they pretty much are solidifying their hold on the NFC as well as the NFC North, right? So the games, that game next week is going to be important. But I think they'll play up. They have to understand who they're playing next week and that how pivotal that game is. So we're going to see. We're not going to see what we just saw between the Lions and the Bears. We're going to see a different energy because they're playing for something that's worth it. It's not. It's not even bragging rights. It's to try to establish a position in the playoffs for both the Bears. The Packers and the Lions. So like I said, there's so much going on. I was talking about the part when you said they played. Oh, when they played down. Listen, let me explain something to you. I don't care. Everybody's going. The Detroit Lions are gonna get everybody's best, right? Because they're the best team. So we understand that. But the Chicago Bears' strengths and their weaknesses, right? They was not supposed to come back into that game and be prepared to kick the game tying field goal. You had them on the ropes, right? Kansas City, they played around and made Aiden O'Connell look like the second coming of Drew Brees or something. You can't allow these teams to get more victories, right? Because they're building themselves up. The Vegas Raiders are 2-10. Team players are supposed to beat the struggling Bears. So what was Dallas' excuse? Dallas had nobody. They had a backup quarterback. Nobody had over 60 yards of receiving or nothing. They beat the Giants. So what that means is that the Giants is a team, so they should have won. You can't do that, right? You can't. You gotta beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's what makes you great. You don't play down to their level, even if you still got the win. Don't get me wrong, but and I know if that coach does his job, it could have been an overtime game. The coach act like he didn't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and that was the downfall for the Chicago Bears. That was the downfall for him losing his job. So with that, nobody can even say anything to that, right? You gotta know who you got. That rookie quarterback, you gotta calm him down. Like I said, if he would have did something on his own and threw an interception, I know the coach would have threw him under the bus. That's not what happened. This, that, and the third. That's what happened. Here he go with this fake balonious. I picked them to win scenario, right? But it was more like people playing down. Like I said, it seemed like the Packers seemed to handle their business yesterday, right? But that's the Lions' next opponent. They didn't let. Tua had about 365 yards, but that was just because they had no choice but to throw the ball. They couldn't. You can't run the ball when you're down by 20 points and things like that. So you're gonna get those yards that you're gonna get. They're playing a cover 2 or cover 3, making sure that nothing gets behind them. So you're gonna gather all the yards. Your stats are gonna look good for that loss, but you're not even as close to the score says you are. The score was not indicative of how close the game was. So you gotta, So now that everybody, there's still some games to go as far as Sunday. I think there's about 10 more games. 10 games, 11, 10 games, I think. So even with that, you gotta go ahead and get through this week, see who's gonna do what. The NFC West is gonna be important, as the Seahawks are flying to New York to play the Jets, and I think the Cardinals is have a game as well, and they're both tied for first place. They fighting for the only playoff spot, in my opinion, that's going to come out of the NFC West, right? So they got some things to worry about, and then you got other seedings to go. You got the Texans, you got the Steelers that got to play. You got the team. Things are starting to pick up as far as playoff positioning now. We're in week 13. There's about 5 weeks to go and people got to do what they got to do. So we're gonna keep our eyes on that as we go on down the line. Now, in the entertainment world, as far as uh, WWE, right? So the WWE had SmackDown today, and SmackDown was, just gearing everybody up for tomorrow. Commander High Nine, what up, though? But WWE is, they had the women's 5-on-5 teams out there to show how they're going to do what they need to do. They got them amped up. We see Cody Rhodes had a little fake fight. But the positioning, as far as the advantage, the numbers game was the goal for the main event tonight. As Jacob Fatu, he took care of business. He took out Mr. Yeet himself, Jey Uso. He took him out, and now they have the advantage as far as SmackDown War Games, which means they're gonna have like 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s for an amount of time. So it's gonna be a very interesting day tomorrow, as War Games is tomorrow, 6 o'clock, I believe. I know I will be watching it. Just to see the how what's going to happen next. Something crazy is going to happen. We know that for sure. We don't know who's going to come in. We don't know who's going to interfere in the matches, things like that, right? So, you just got to buckle up. I did catch up with some AEW. I was a little lost behind it. Let me just say this. The way they got Bobby Lashley looking, I won't be surprised if he's going to be facing Jon Moxley soon. That's how they got the Hurt Squad looking over there. They're going to be having, group versus group over there. That's going to be an interesting look. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just an interesting dynamic that we're getting ready to face going forward as far as these things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have to. That's why I said I gotta continuously watch it, right? Because after that pay-per-view, I don't think I don't think they really have somebody to fight for Jon Moxley. That's why I'm thinking they may push the Hurt Squad on him, because it's a group on group thing. Jon Moxley got his little crew, and MVP, he stayed with a crew. He ain't been right since 2010 when he had his work feet. He said, I asked Jared to move the interview to 5. I'm happy you told me. I forgot. I'm having people. Yo, you crazy. You crazy. Oh, I had to think for a minute. Oh, okay. But yeah, that's the most interesting thing about, the wrestling aspect, right? You really have to be attentive to pay attention to see what's going on, of how things are looking, right? Like tonight, right? They got Cody Rhodes fighting what's the boy name? Carmelo Hayes. I'm thinking he gonna fight Kevin Owens in War Games. They talking about that's for the 14th, Saturday night's main event. Now I don't understand how you have the world champion not fighting in War Games. They got Gunther fighting Damian Priest. Something weird about to happen over there. I don't think he's going to get the belt, to be quite honest with you. But you got to have some type of belts on the line. The women's tag belt ain't going to be like, there's only one belt on the line. Like, how does that, like, to have an event where you only got one world champion fighting is weird. So, it's going to be interesting, but it just goes to show you how prominent the storyline of the bloodline is, right? to gain the respect and attributes of that Ula flower. They doing a great job. They just brought back Paul Heyman. They making you think that Paul Heyman may turn on Roman Reigns, or he may turn on CM Punk. That story, they just do it well. Me personally, I think that's Paul Heyman's writing his storyline, and you can tell because that's something that only he can create. I know good and well Triple H ain't creating nothing like that. That's not in him, right? He's not making the storyline of the betrayal. You see how many times him and Shawn Michaels fought and then got back together, but you can see that there's a disdain between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. You can see that. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they want to fight, but that's also going to lead to it has to be, I think there's going to be a triple threat coming between Bronson Reed, CM Punk, and what's the boy name? Seth Rollins. They're gonna go about it that way and have different aspects in that match. So, it's gonna be a unique war games. You guys stay tuned for all of that. Uh oh, you talking about what's his boy name? What is his name? Oh my god. LA Knight, right? Ain't no, he's the US champ. Is he the US? I don't remember what he is. But it's all about the 5-on-5 match. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be interesting. Can the women stay on each other, stay on the same page? I think they're gonna do away with the whole drafting aspect itself, so it ain't even gonna matter. Will Tiffany Stratton cash in the money in the bank money in the bank in war games? You gotta ask yourself all of these questions. Oh, you got LA Knight? Yeah, I'm sick of him too. They got Shinsuke Nakamura looking like he's what's Oscar or the Great Muda. That's kind of, I ain't gonna say, it just don't look right that only agents can spit things out their mouth and blind people. But that's the concept that they want to use. But okay, but but how did he come back? Well, they don't really have nobody, but that's the B card of a thing, right? Oh yeah, Braun Breaker, right? I forgot all about that one. Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and the fake Gunther. What's the little Tiffany Stratton's man? That's Tiffany Stratton's boyfriend, Ludwig Kaiser. That guy. Yeah, they be giving people these long breaks, and then they come in, and then they have like look at AJ Styles. He was going so long, he came back. Soon as he came back, he out again for a real injury that happened on camera, right? You can't fake this one. This ain't like the Jay Cargill situation. Jay Cargill, she got beat up, but she was reportedly she's injured in real life. So it ain't that. AJ really got hurt. And so now that could have been AJ Styles and trying to do something with not with LA Knight again, but you know what I mean? That could have been another angle for somebody like the Carmelo Hayes scenario or Andrade, something like that. But sometimes in this sport, the injuries it makes you have to change the storyline anyway, right? Rhea Ripley coming back to, with the broken nose. She probably take the mask off at War Games to show she ain't really hurt or whatever the case may be. Dirty Dom might be under the ring somewhere. He might be under the ring somewhere. No, they didn't say who took out Jade. They got that as the mystery thing. They may bring that out either tomorrow or Saturday night main event. But you have to believe sooner or later they have to strip them of the belt, even though like the Judgment Day had two matches in like 4 months, two defenses in 4 months. But they gonna do something with the tag belts for the ladies. They really are trying to push the ladies. Oh, shout out to the little triple threat match. I was watching that. What's her name? Not Jade. The Jade lookalike. Lash Legend. She was trying. She worked. You see she's working hard. She's still she's still wet behind the ears as far as the routines and the matches. But she did a pretty good job. Now me what's the girl name? Meek what is her name? Mishkin, whatever her name is. She does not need to be. They trying to hold on to her for dear life. I don't know, like what is she doing? Like she's supposed to be like Tommy Dreamer. That's the little Asian girl, realist, not Io Sky. Uh, uh, uh. She was the one that was fighting. She the one that put Lash Legend, not Lash Legend. You talking about what's the little Asian girl that used to be with the OC? Me, whatever her name is, something with an M. Meek, Mishkin, whatever her name is, right? But she's not doing anything to be the next Intercontinental Champion. They just holding on to her for whatever reason. It's like she's like the new Natalia. Remember when Natalia used to be? Uh, you seen her? You seen her? She threw like about a month ago. She threw Chelsea Green in the garbage, and then that's what Chelsea Green was smelling like, the garbage and things like that. She used to be with AJ Styles, realist AJ Styles, uh, and the OC, the girl, the little Asian girl, whatever. I don't even know her name. This sucks. Meekin, Mishkin. It's just terrible. I don't be knowing people's name. So it's just not the man. Oh God, they ain't helping me. Mishin, Michin, the girl. That's a yeah, that one. Right? They just making her look like Natalia. They just keeping her relevant, and how they did Naomi as she was coming back. When she before she left, and now that she's back, they trying to keep her relevant. So I understand that, but sooner or later you're gonna have to have Lash Legend, and you're gonna have to give her a little bit of shine. You keep making her the substitute for Jade, but the story, I think she's gonna shine sooner or later. So they might as well start to make her matches a little bit more relevant. I don't know if she could do the 20-minute matches yet, but as far as the look, she looks like she can do it, but we all know looks are deceiving. So that was a good match. Like I said, tonight wasn't really about the matches, right? Because it was really about building up for War Games. So the main event, of course, was, like I said earlier, Jay and Jacob Fatu, and they was taking some beatings with each other, throwing each other through the announce table. But that Jacob Fatu, he's very athletic. He just do things that don't even make that seems improbable, but he makes it look so simple. He just running and jumping to the second and off the third rope and doing backflips and somersaults, and he's very athletic. And just imagine if he was really into it, right? If he was really into wrestling, like he's saying he just got into wrestling to keep himself out of jail. Yeah, he got a wicked moonsault. Now just imagine if he was doing it like Jay and Jimmy and guys like that. He just got into this thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tremendous thing to have talent, to be athletic, and to have the skills that you have. And then this And in this realm, it can get you a good 15, 20 year run, right? And he's not even doing it like for entertainment. He's just doing it like strictly off his athleticism. He's not like R Truth or anybody like that. I just heard my dad tell me, yeah, listen, like, and it's funny because down here in Georgia, that's what they talking about. They want them Bulldogs to be relevant, right? They want the Bulldogs to be relevant, but Georgia Tech is actually shocking people with their record. They already beat Miami. They already took them out. Uh, you know, I just this game is too close. Oh, they're going for the 2 point attempt right now. This is the game right now. It's the game. Georgia quarterback running. They got a penalty on the play. He didn't make it, but there's a penalty on the play, right? So now we got to wait for the penalty. If it's against Georgia, they're going to keep playing. Yeah, they're going to go into a fifth overtime. Shout out to to Warriors parents who into this game. It was a nip and tuck game. This Georgia Tech and Georgia game. That's why they in the four overtimes. They just came and exploded in the second half. But bro, he did. Yeah, he be doing the Bianca Belair moves, right? But I think this is going to be the time when what's the other guys that's trying to come in, Killaleo or whatever they people. I can't be pronounce these people's name. They gonna make a surprise entrance Saturday. They they may be under the ring, something, or they might break the lock or whatever they do to get in the match and disrupt the match or whatever they do, right? So it's gonna be an interesting war games, but as they about to start again for the fifth overtime between Georgia Tech and Georgia, which is crazy. Georgia can't afford to lose this game. They're going to be at the playoffs. So they need to win this game. But they may lose some ranking, but if they lose, they're going to be out, period. They ain't got to worry about no playoffs. But yeah, so I'm also over here, watching the basketball game, the Emirates tournament, which is an in-season tournament that the league just started last year. They give them a trophy and things like that. They play the finals in Vegas, things like that. They're playing for positions right now. They got 3 divisions for both East Coast, West Coast. The top 6 teams get in there. So it's just like I said, it's a lot of sports going on. You know what I mean? But right now we're just going to focus on the NFL as they're getting ready to start. They're starting their playoff run. Like I said, we got the rest of Sunday, and then we got some important games coming forth. The AFC North got to continue their division games. The AFC North is going to do theirs as well. The playoffs is looking kind of different, right? As in the NFC, the NFC North looks like they're going to be representing 3 teams, and in the AFC West is going to be representing 3 different teams. Right now, it's the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Denver Broncos is playing some very good football. I don't think people gave Bo Nix credit or recognition that he was going to do anything that he needed to do as far as get this team on a winning way. I know that Sean Payton is going to get the credit, but Bo Nix is playing some outstanding football. I remember when they couldn't score a touchdown for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Now he just giving them chances to win. Their defense is stepping up. I mean, if they wasn't in the AFC West, they may be a little bit higher. But hey, when you got Kansas City in your division, you got to do some things. So, we'll talk about those surprise teams as we go forth on Sunday or Monday. Yeah, well, I'll go Sunday because we'll have that war game results on Sunday. So I'll be back on Sunday for that. Uh, for those of you that still want to pick, you can put it on the community wall for the remainder games. Uh, I think Commander's here. I don't know if she did it or I haven't checked, but it's like I said, it's just winding down. We're going to finish this season off, and then I'm just so excited about next season. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna do some like I'm over here studying how to start fantasy leagues and all of that. I'm super excited about that. Right, I am so excited about that for that and the NBA. I think that's what's going to get people to, we're going to have the real barbershop conversations. Oh, that person ain't no good. That person's trash or whatever. I'm just excited about that. But we're going to keep this thing rolling. You know, we still in our infancy stage of doing this channel, but I'm super excited and I'm glad that you guys are willing to ride it out with me. So shout out to you guys. Um, but y'all just be ready Sunday when I come back on. Uh, we're gonna have the results of the Sunday game, the Sunday matchups. We're gonna talk about the positioning of the playoffs races, the division races. Uh, we'll talk about war games and surprise. A word, is there any fights coming on tomorrow? I don't even know. I didn't see any. So if there is, let me know so I could catch it. We'll probably talk about if there is a fight, we'll catch that. We'll have those conversation too. We just and then I'll be back on look in December, right? Uh we in the last month. We getting ready to start this new year. We're gonna end this one, you know, with the abilities that only we can have. So we're gonna do this right. Right. So I appreciate you guys stopping through. Uh as most of y'all know, it was a long day for me. Beautiful. Listen, concept after concept. Word, you going live today? I don't even know if you're going live. Uh, if he is, y'all catch him within the next half an hour or the next hour. If he do go live, he's normally live at 12:30, going towards 1 o'clock. I don't. Like I said, I ain't see him. He ain't posting anything, but we just trying to do things that keep these things going, keep ourselves active and things of that nature. So, oh wow, it's gonna be like a 8 overtime situation. Uh, so yeah, we're gonna. Oh, the Fury fight is in late December. Okay, no, I was just making sure because we so stuck on war games that they be trying to sneak some sneaky fights in at the end of November and the beginning of December. So you know, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But like I said, we're just gonna wind down on the NFL season. I'll start picking up uh the NBA as they finalize the positions for the Emirate Cup finals or whatever. Okay, shout out, shout out to the parents. So we're just getting an interview right there. Oh, Wolfpack. Okay, that's at 5 o'clock. Y'all check Jared and Word conversation out. Uh, okay. Uh, I'll be up. I'm trying to get these college scores too, so that way, I could post it and keep everybody abreast about the college football playoffs. I see Deion Sanders and them had a good game today. They're 9-3. They're in the bowl. They're bowl eligible. We don't know. who knows if some of these teams start losing, they might try to slide them back into the top 15. And if they win the title, they may call it a day, be in the top 12. Georgia is stopped again on a 2 point. They're in the eighth overtime, so they're only doing like 2 point conversions. So somebody got to score and somebody can't score, and that'll end the game. And the way this is looking, Georgia is gone. They're going to get by with the skin of their teeth. But, Georgia, like I said, Georgia Tech has been upsetting people this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do it tonight. And this is a rivalry game because, down here in Georgia, Athens, Georgia, and, Georgia Tech is in Atlanta. It's like an hour trip. So, it's going to be that dynamic. But that being said, y'all, let me get off here and focus on this game. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'm out.